5. Firstly, let me know if you're having doubt in any particular question. Then in the chat box, write that question number. I'll discuss that question only. If you are having any doubt in any question of NCERT, kindly write that question number in the chat box. We shall discuss that question. In the chat box, write down the question number in which you are facing problem. No problem. Okay. Okay, question number 14. One second. Your question number 14 is, what is point mutation and given example? Point mutation. Mutation, you know, when there will be change in the DNA. Am I clear? Point means the mutation is taking place only at one point. Suppose here I am having a sequence. Suppose CAG, TAC. The sequence will be formed by only 4 nitrogenous bases. That is A, T, C, G. Hypothetically, I am making any sequence T, C, G. Suppose I have made this by using these 4. This is made by me hypothetically. Okay. Now this, you know, 3 nitrogenous base will work as a codon and they will code for 1 amino acid. These 3 will work together and they will make 1 amino acid. Clear? These 3 will work together and they will make second amino acid. And in the similar way, these 3, they will work together and they will code for third amino acid. This is happening naturally in our body. 3 nitrogenous base, they are coding for 1 amino acid. Now, what is happening in point mutation? There is a change in 1 nitrogenous base. Basically, there is substitution in 1 nitrogenous base. Suppose A was there in the normal person. Now, if this A got replaced by any of the rest 3, suppose this A here, it is replaced by, suppose, C. Now, this is point mutation. Change in the 1 nitrogenous base. Am I clear? Now, what will happen? Earlier, it was CAG. So it was coding for the amino acid, but now it is CCG. So this amino acid, it will also get differ. Differ in any sense. Suppose earlier it was glutamic acid, now it could be any other acid like valine. Okay, so this is point mutation, change in 1 nitrogenous base. Basically, instead of change, the substitution would be a better word. Clear? And its example we have discussed in yesterday's video, sickle cell anemia. What happens in sickle cell anemia? As you know, our hemoglobin is made up of polypeptide chain. Our hemoglobin is made up of 4 chains. 2 are alpha and 2 are beta. Suppose our hemoglobin is there. It is having alpha chain and beta chain. So now what happens in sickle cell anemia? In the beta chain, at the 6th position, there is change in one amino acid and that is due to point mutation. Basically हमारी बॉडी में क्या होता है, suppose here is the beta chain, amino acids are present, and in the normal human being at the sixth place glutamic acid is present. Okay, but in the sickle celled person, what will happen? At the sixth place, instead of glutamic acid, valine will be present. It means you can see there is change in one amino acid that I told you. There will be change in one nitrogenous base. As a result, one codon will get change, and as a result, one amino acid will get change. Similarly, in sickle cell anemia, this is happening. There is change in one nitrogenous base. As a result, there is change in one amino acid in your beta chain of the hemoglobin. Earlier, at the sixth place, it was glutamic acid. Now it will become valine, and as a result, sickle cell anemia is there. Okay, this we have done in yesterday's video about sickle cell anemia. Now, any other doubt in any other question, then write in the chat box. Write the question number. No doubt. Okay, Simran, how is pedigree useful? One by one, I'll take all the doubts. Okay. How is pedigree useful? Now just see. Pedigree, you know what is pedigree? In pedigree, we used to show the inheritance pattern of a particular disease or of a particular trait in the generation via family tree. So pedigree basically a pictorial representation of the inheritance of a particular trait. Over generations in case of a family. Okay, we used to study a family. We used to study the different generations of a family, and then we used to analyze that how a single trait is getting inherited. Am I clear? What we are doing in pedigree? We are studying the history of a family. Then we used to make a pictorial representation which will show how a particular trait will get inherited. Now, how is this useful? Suppose here I am having a carrier HBA HBS. This is a female, suppose, and she is a carrier of sickle cell anemia. इसको sickle cell anemia नहीं है, इसका RBC sickle cell नहीं है, because it is having A trait. S trait अगर दोनों होते, for this kindly watch yesterday's video. If this could be the condition, then the female would be sickle cell. Okay, but here this is the condition. So female is not having sickle cell anemia, but she is a carrier, and she even doesn't know that she is a carrier. Suppose if I am here, मुझे नहीं पता मेरी बॉडी में ये कंडीशन, श्योरली ये नहीं है, because मुझे कोई symptom नहीं है sickle cell anemia के, so surely this condition is there. But ये है या ये है, I am not aware. Suppose if a carrier female is there, clear, and now she got married with a carrier male. Again, male को भी नहीं पता that he is a carrier, because उनके अंदर symptom नहीं होते, but they can pass the disease to their babies. Suppose here is a male having the same condition. Clear? So now, again, he is also a carrier. So now what will happen in the offspring, just see. Gametes HBA, HBS. Clear? Here, HBS, sorry, HBA and HBS. Now what will happen? HBA can fuse with HBA. This sperm containing HBA can fuse with this sperm containing HBA. So here the baby produced would be normal. Second condition, HBA, HBS. Again the baby produced would be a carrier but will not be having symptoms. Second, HBA, HBS. But the last condition, HBS, HBS. The baby that will result from this kind of fertilization, that baby will be sickle celled anemic. अब पेरेंट्स तो यही सोचेंगे ना ही मदर को सिकल सेल एनीमिया है ना ही फादर को है. बेबी में ये डिसीज आई कहां से? Why? Because they were the carriers and they were not aware actually of this. So हम पेडिग्री में क्या करते हैं, अगर हमें यहाँ पे बेबी दिखा है अफेक्टेड, तो we used to see the family. फैमिली का क्या जीनोटाइप था? Am I clear? So how is the pedigree useful? If before marriage, obviously it is not going in India, but if before marriage this male, sorry, this female and this male would have undergone pedigree, अगर इन्होंने अपना जीनोटाइपिक एनालिसिस करवाया होता तो इन्हें पता चल जाता that she is a carrier and he is a carrier. So वो marriage इस according करते हैं. Suppose HBA, HBS girl is there. Then if she would have married the normal man, then the chances of the sickle cell anemia in their baby would be 0. अगर इन्होंने पेडिग्री करवाया होता तो इन्हें पता होता that this type of carrier should marry with the normal one. Carrier की कभी भी marriage नहीं होनी चाहिए. So pedigree help us to analyze that the marriage between two individuals will be fruitful or will there be any disease in the ongoing baby. And if there will be any disease, then they can marry with the different persons. Make clear? Second use of pedigree is that I told you. We can study the inheritance pattern of a particular disease, how a particular disease is getting transmitted from one generation to another. Third, you might have listened that the marriage between the close relatives should be avoided. Why? There is a genetic reason behind this. Generally, what is there in the close relatives? The alleles are quite common as they are having either the same grandparents or great grandparents. So again, the marriage should be avoided between them. So how pedigree is useful? To study the inheritance of a disease, to study that whether the marriage between the two persons will be successful or it will lead to a deceased baby. It also shows that the marriage between the close relatives should be avoided, as in this case the chances of occurrence of disease is quite more. Now next doubt. Shivam, what is the meaning of loci? Suppose here I am having a chromosome. Clear? On this chromosome, you know, DNA is present, and on the DNA, gene is present. Suppose a gene is present at this place. There would be a particular place where the gene will be present, or loci means address of the gene, like we are having our address where we used to live. So loci means address of that particular gene. Am I clear? Loci means a fixed place on the chromosome where you will find the gene. Or basically, in easiest way, it is the address of the gene. Clear? Now, next query. In question number 3. Is the loci word clear, or may I explain the question number 3 completely? How many gametes will be formed? Shivam, is it okay? Loci means the address of a gene or a fixed position on the chromosome where the gene would be present. Okay, let me explain the question number 3 completely. Your question number 3 is, a diploid organism is heterozygous for 4 loci. Organism is heterozygous. How many gametes will be formed? Just see. Organism is diploid. Diploid means if capital T is there, then there must be second allele. चाहे वो capital T हो, चाहे वो capital T small t हो, चाहे वो small t हो. Diploid means for a particular trait, 2 alleles will be present. Clear? Secondly, they are saying the organism is heterozygous. Heterozygous directly means this condition is not possible. This is homozygous. This condition is again not possible. This is homozygous. So what could be the condition? This. Am I clear? Now, the organism is diploid. So diploid से मुझे पता चला 2 alleles are there. Heterozygous. So I got to know that both the alleles are different. They are not same. Now the organism is heterozygous for how many loci? 4. Means 4 genes are different. Okay, loci means the fixed position of a gene. So basically they are talking about the 4 genes. This you know, these are the different forms of a gene. Suppose एक gene, अब मुझे 4 different gene लेने हैं. Suppose first is capital A, small a. This is first. Second is capital B, small b. Third is capital C, small c. And fourth is capital D, small d. So basically, this is the condition in the parent. Firstly, you have to understand what is the condition. Diploid, each and every allele, each and every gene is having 2 alleles. Heterozygous, capital A is not there, capital A, small a is there. Capital B is not there, capital B, small b is there. And 4 loci are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now your question, how many gametes will be produced? Either we can do it manually, but that is quite difficult, so we will apply the formula directly. Otherwise, manually आप करते हो. Capital T small t used to write capital T small t. आप करते हो, कर सकते हो. Even I suggest you do it after the class and show me. If there would be any mistake, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I am using the formula. The number of gametes produced is given by the formula 2 की power n. Okay. So here I am having how many genes? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 की power 4. 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. That is 16 gametes. So in this case, how many gametes will be produced? 16 gametes. But yes, here is a condition that alleles must not be linked, because you have read about linkage. In linkage, what happens? The genes are linked sometimes. Okay, so in that case, the number would be different surely. But in case when there is no linkage, then the number of gametes would be 16. And if there is linkage, then we can't tell the number. It will depend on the distance. It will depend upon so many things. Clear? So if the genes are not linked, then 16 gametes would be produced. And if they will be linked, then the number of the gametes would be reduced. जितना भी होगा 16 से कम होगा, ज्यादा नहीं होगा. But how many will be there, we can't tell without knowing the distance between the genes and everything. Okay. Any doubt in any other question now? Otherwise, we shall move to our next chapter. Okay, no problem. Okay. Let me explain a few points about linkage. A few students, they are having problem. What happens in linkage actually? Suppose I am having a chromosome. In the chromosome, as you know, genes are present. DNA is present on the DNA. Genes are present. Now what happens? ऐसा तो नहीं है देखो कि एक क्रोमोसोम पर एक ही जीन है. No. There are present so many genes on a chromosome. Suppose here I am having A gene and here I am having B gene. So what is happening actually in linkage? If the distance between A and B gene is quite less, so they will show a kind of association, affection, a kind of bond, friendship आप कह सकते हो. If A and B, they are located quite close on a chromosome, then what will happen? They will try to be together. They will not try to be separate. ऐसे कभी नहीं चाहेंगे that we should get separate. These two will try to inherit together in the future generation, in the offspring, and this is linkage, the physical association of two genes. Suppose if I talk about this, suppose here, A gene is present here and B is present here. Now, no doubt, they are present on the same chromosome, but still a kind of physical association, bonding would be less as the distance between them is more. So here the genes can show recombination. It can show changes in the future generation. But if the genes are not having enough distance, then they will show linkage. These two genes, A and B, in first case will be known as linked genes, and they will try to inherit together in the offspring. But they can show recombination. So basically, Mendel ने जो भी study किया, he was literally lucky. He didn't got any, you can say, limitation from the linked genes. As P में linked genes बहुत कम, so he got the right answers. But when the different scientists worked on the different animals, different plants, then they found that in Mendel, he said that in F2 generation, the ratio is 9:3:3:1. But when other scientists did the experiment in different organisms, then they got to know that every time the ratio is not this clear. This is linkage. Two genes, they try to be inherited together. Now let us move forward to chapter number 6. If still you are having any doubt in chapter number 5, you can just message me. Now let us start chapter number 6. That is molecular basis of inheritance. Now, inheritance, you know, transfer of characters from the parents to the offspring. In chapter number 5, we have discussed the patterns, how the characters are being transmitted from one generation to the next. But in molecular basis, we shall study what is there in an organism that is being inherited from one generation to another. Clear? Now, if I talk about the history first, although less important, but you should know. So firstly, there was a scientist, Frederick Mister. In 1869. Okay, what he did, from the white blood cells. As you know, our body is having white blood cells, and in the white blood cells, nucleus is there. So what this scientist did in 1864, he took white blood cells, and from the nucleus of white blood cell, from the nucleus of white blood cells, he took out a kind of structure from the nucleus. He isolated one structure. वो structure क्या है, उसका detailed structure he was not able to study, as at that time the microscopes were not that good. So he just extracted that material from the nucleus and he named that material as nuclein. And why he gave the name nuclein? It's obvious, as he extracted this material from the nucleus. So he said nuclein. He was not able to study the structure. What he did, he just took a material from the nucleus of the white blood cells, basically the pus cells, and he named it as nuclein. Now, next scientist, फ्रेडरिक मिस्टर ने सिर्फ और सिर्फ न्यूक्लिन को एक्सट्रैक्ट किया, उसके बारे में कुछ नहीं बताया. After that, in 1884, in 1869, he isolated nuclein. Now, in 1884, okay, there came another scientist known as Hartree. Hartwig. In 1884, there came another scientist known as Hartwig. Now, what he did, he said that this nuclein, it is being inherited from the parents to the offspring. Frederick Mister ने सिर्फ nuclein को isolate कर दिया, that's it. In 1884, Hartwig was there. He said that this nuclein, it is being inherited from one generation to the another generation. Clear? He did this. Now there came another scientist in 1889, Altman. Now what he said that this nuclein is of two types, DNA and RNA. After that, scientists came and they studied the structure of these nucleic acid. The history is this. No doubt it is less important, but you should know. Okay, now let us move to the basics that you have done in earlier classes. You know, organisms are of two types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. अभी हम जो भी कर रहे हैं, I think ये आपको आता है. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Pro means primitive, initial. Karyon means nucleus. So basically in prokaryotes, what is the condition? Their nucleus is in the initial stage. Means the nucleus is not surrounded by the nuclear membrane. The cell is there, but there is no nuclear membrane. Clear? So the genetic material, it is present openly in the cytoplasm. Just think, the genetic material, it is the most important thing in a person's body, as it is having the information for everything. This genetic material is lying openly in the cytoplasm. There is no nuclear membrane. So this is prokaryote, means the nucleus is of primitive kind. And in prokaryote, this is circular DNA basically. Okay, now along with this, you might have studied in class 11, plasmid is also there in prokaryotes, especially I'm talking about the bacteria. Along with this genome, they are having extra chromosomal DNA, that is plasmid. Clear? Again, plasmid is circular in nature. If I talk about the eukaryotes, that you know, the chromosomes, or I can say the genetic material, they are present inside a nuclear membrane, and eukaryotes, they are well developed as compared to the prokaryotes. Now this nucleic acid, it is of two types, DNA and RNA. DNA is the genetic material in most of the organisms. No doubt RNA is genetic material in a few organisms, in a few virus, but generally the DNA is the genetic material. Now let us talk about the structure of DNA, that is quite important. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. And if I talk about the RNA, RNA is ribonucleic acid. If you see the full form, there is just difference at this place. Deoxy. Otherwise, rest is same. Now, do you know what is the meaning of deoxy? D means remove. Oxy means oxygen. So basically, what is there in deoxyribonucleic acid? At the second place, oxygen is not there in the pentose sugar. We shall study the structure. You will get to know there what I am trying to say. Now, if I talk about the structure of DNA, we are having three things. First is phosphate group. Second, I told you sugar. This is pentose sugar. Now, what do you mean by pentose sugar? Pent means 5 carbon. You have done. So this sugar is having how many carbon? 5. And last is nitrogenous bases that I told you a little bit in chapter number 5. So these three things make up your DNA. Phosphate group, pentose sugar, nitrogenous bases. How are they arranged? Everything we will learn in our next class properly with the help of the simulations. Okay. But now, firstly, if I talk about your DNA is acidic or basic, what will be your answer? Your DNA, it is acidic or basic. Now, if I talk about this phosphate group, in your chemistry you have done, it is PO4 3 negative. So due to this phosphate group, your DNA is slightly acidic, slightly, not strong, but yes, due to the presence of this phosphate group, your DNA is slightly acidic. About this, we will study next class. Now, let me tell you a basic thing. What is the difference between chromosome, DNA, gene? Firstly, let me know, is there any doubt? Okay, I'm explaining what is the difference between these three. After that, I'll ask from you the difference only. Now, suppose here I'm having a cell. I'm having a eukaryotic cell. In this cell, I'll be having a nucleus. Clear? Now, if you will see in the nucleus, we can see chromosomes, right? So here in the nucleus, I am having chromosomes. Like in our body, we are having 23 pairs in each and every cell. Now, if you will see on this DNA, in this DNA, there is present like this. It, in the whole chromosome, it is present like this. ये पूरा structure हम अभी पढ़ेंगे. What I am drawing by this like this. So in the chromosome, if you see this is DNA. Okay. A segment is DNA. Its structure we have to study. So in the nucleus, chromosomes are there. On the chromosomes, we are having the segments, and the segments of the chromosomes which carries the information forward, that is DNA. Now, if I talk about gene, gene is again a segment of DNA. Suppose अगर ये DNA था इतना, suppose here I am having the DNA. Structure we shall study. Okay. So gene is that portion of DNA which can code for a protein. Suppose this portion can code for a protein, so this is a gene. And if this portion cannot code, then that portion will not be counted as gene. वो DNA है but वो gene नहीं है because that is not coding for a protein. So